G'day. Thought today I'd make a video on steering boxes out of a MK4 Zephyr Zodiac, maybe both. Haven't seen my front guards for a couple of years, haven't seen my engine for a couple of years, got sick of polishing alloys, so I've come across this other steering box. It'll be the fourth one I've pulled apart, and we'll see if it's any different to the rest. My gut feel is there's 110% chance it's the worst one yet, but let's pull it apart and see what it's got. So this is my one on the right out of the car. This is the one I've just come across on the left. Need to tidy up. And there's obviously three others I've pulled apart. The worm gears out of them. So there's three completely different pitches. So when you pull three different steering boxes apart, trying to mash together the best set of parts, it's extremely hard when they're all geared up differently. So while this other one's rumbly, let's find out whether it's just the cups or the runners on the worm gear or something else in between. So I've given the outside a good old clean up with a bit of kerosene. Kerosene's quite good at keeping women and children out of the garage, because it doesn't smell that good. The inside's a bit of a mess as well. There's been a bit of water get in with the oil at some point, but that's fine. There's a bit of play in the end bearing. There's supposed to be a little bit, but probably not that much. The worm gear in here is quite clearly the easiest turning of the whole lot. It'll have the most threads per inch, or threads per yard. Thread per yard might be more accurate because it's barely 1 per inch, but presumably this is out of the steering box for a vehicle without power steering, because this will be easier on the arms to turn. We'll have a look in there, right? So you can see here how the mechanism works. See how disgusting it is in there, but yeah, I'm wondering if there's a ball missing even out of the end of that, but I don't know. And like I said at the start, we'll find out where this rumble's coming from, whether it's one end, both ends, or what of the worm gear. I have seen the steering nut with real bad pits in them before. It could be that. But yeah, we'll whip it to pieces and see how we get on, eh? did you see how much water came out of that steering box? It has had a bit of a detrimental effect on this worm gear. You can see where it's, you wouldn't call it rust, but it's got some other sort of corrosion on it. Both ends, bearing runners at both ends of this gear, absolutely munted. This cup here, the runner in it, absolutely munted. And this one here, probably all right before it went kind of rusty. Well, no, there's one bad section in it. There's a stack of 4 different, where are you? There. 4 different shims in the, to pack out where to set the bearing tolerance. This here has not had as much wear on it as I have seen in other ones. You can kind of just see it in there almost. Yeah, it's where the steering nut rubs on it. That's nowhere near as bad as I've seen in other ones. But yeah, this steering nut, everything looks fine in it. I can't see anything wrong with the runners in there, so that could be handy. We'll see how we go. Could be a good thing. We might have got one decent bit out of that steering box. I was pretty careful keeping the bearing, the balls apart, because there's some pretty specific words in the manual about how many bearings, how many balls are supposed to go around the steering nut. It's quite obvious there's room for more than you're supposed to put in. And then there's also words about they change from 8mm to, or 5/16 to 8mm or something like that. There's only about 3 thou difference apparently between to pre and post 1968 thing as they did. That could be, the pre and post 68 could be the reason for the different threads per inch on the worm gear, in combination with the power steering perhaps. So yeah, we'll have a careful count up of those balls. I don't know how to tell the difference between pre and post 68 ones, and you're not supposed to get your imperial and metric balls mixed up. It's pretty fine tolerances involved with this stuff, but we'll get on top of that. So yeah, long story short, we might have got one decent bit out of it.